Good afternoon, everybody. So here's the deal. If you're sitting on the fence, haven't worked out in a very long time, and thinking about it, or you want to really get healthy again, get rid of that dad bod, or just feel like you're younger again, you don't know where to start, or if it looks monumental. It's really a simple concept. It's a simple concept that is not easy. If this was easy, everybody in the world would be ripped and in shape, right? So here's what I did, and maybe this will kind of clear things up. I was at one point sitting at about 200 and close to 270 pounds. Now, I had been very athletic my whole life, but I put on a lot of weight. I was pretty sedentary. I was lifting, and actually at that size, I was actually lifting more weight. But for some reason, I just could not lose the fat, and it was kind of frustrating. So at that point, my wife, who's very sharp, said, I hate seeing you shooting yourself in the foot. You want to know the deal? And I was like, yeah, what's the deal? She said, it's the alcohol. Now, I was drinking quite a bit because I'm very much into cooking. So when I was on my smoker, I was drinking. So things sometimes took a long time. I had a lot of beer. I'm definitely not gonna lie. I was, good with the beer, and then sometimes at night it was whiskey, and sometimes whiskey and Coke. All things over the course of the last few years, I've learned they were very, very toxic to me. But what she explained was how the liquor was affecting my liver, and all the good things I was trying to eat were being put aside, basically as fat, so the liver could handle the poison. And I never thought of it that way. I always heard alcohol was fattening, and you have your light beers, but that's really not how it works. It's fattening because your liver has to deal with the poison, and all the good things that you ate are now put and made into fat. That's how alcohol was fattening. So I personally decided that I was going to stop drinking, and she did it with me, and we actually stopped drinking for 2 years solid. During those 2 years, remember, I had started at 267, close to 270 pounds. I started training heavy, and I started recording, watching my form, and I was recording and I was posting it. So I was filming at different angles, and just so I could see myself, what I was looking like while I was working out. It was never about the aesthetics, about having it, filter it and have it look great. I wanted to see it raw. I wanted to see exactly what it was, and that's what I started posting, and that's when I put my Instagram as a transition. This is my transition. So I did have a problem with COVID, Delta version, that variant, and I became pretty sick. But it was Anna again who had me trying to climb stairs. She kept me moving, and that was key to kicking that. It was a struggle just to get up a step, and she made me take 2 steps and then 3 steps, and then she hooked me up with a video that was a breathing exercises with a spirometer to work my lungs, which took a beating. And it was the hardest routine to this date, harder than anything you see me doing in the gym. Those breathing treatments, and it started very painful, and I was coughing, and I got better and better and better at it. I had an X-ray of my lungs. There was plasticine damage that was from the COVID. It had attacked my lung, and so I was working on the lungs with those breathing treatments. Then fast forward another month after doing the breathing treatments and walking upstairs, I had really kicked the COVID, and was feeling like I could actually get in the gym. So I started lifting a little bit and started actually feeling my lungs feeling better. And I decided in my infinite wisdom I was going to do a burpee. Love them or hate them. Okay. I did a burpee. And the next day I did 2 burpees. And the next week I was able to do 4 burpees. The following week after that, I went for my next chest x-ray and my lung had cleared. So I knew what I was doing was working. I also started dropping weight very quickly. So I then upped it to 10 burpees. This is over the course of the week. Follow another week, I was 20 burpees, then 40 burpees, and then I was doing 30 burpees a day, 40 burpees a day, 50 burpees a day, and still training, still working out. I started running, but I kept my burpees. I was losing weight faster than I ever saw, and it was not water weight. This was solid weight, and at the same time I was building lean muscle as I was losing that body fat. Now that transition, I did document that every step of the way, and I went from 267 pounds to 173 pounds, almost 100 pounds over the course of, it was probably about a year it took. So close to 100 pounds. Now that's prolific. I mean, all my clothes changed. I had literally bought stuff from one of those clothing online things, and the sizes were nowhere near fitting my fat belly, and I threw them in the closet. And fast forward a year after that, after I had dropped those pounds, and that stuff fit nice. So it was really a great feeling. And I took that feeling and parlayed it further and further and further and further. I never stopped. Okay, this comes into the motivation for me was medical. Okay, medical is a very high motivation to start something. And if you don't, then you're crazy. All right. So medical got me my motivation. I was staying with it because I committed to it. But see, that motivation fades quickly. Even the commitment fades quickly. What I developed was the most important thing, which is discipline. I disciplined myself to the fact that I needed this on a daily basis. For one, to get healthy again, and number 2, I was getting up in my decades when you start losing muscle mass, bone density. I felt it very important to do this on a daily basis to build that all back up and fight for the time, so to say. And it's been working. I feel great. It's amazing to walk into a place and feel young, to feel good. I can do things without pain. I am very it's an amazing feeling. So if you're feeling like you don't know where to begin, just remember what I'm saying about that. First of all, there's a motivation. And what's the motivation for you to start? Okay, is it your health? Okay, that's pretty important. Okay, there needs to be a commitment after that. Is it because you just don't like the way you look? Well, that's important too. Make that commitment. Okay, that's motivation. That's commitment. Turn it into a discipline. When you turn it into a discipline, it gets crazy. Like there were times when I didn't want to work out, but I did. I felt like hell, but I worked out. I had something better to do, but I worked out. I never missed it. It got to the point where I really dislike my rest days. Well, at this point, well, I need them. The rest days are very, don't get me wrong, very important. But I prefer the days that I'm training over the non-training days. It becomes so part of what I do that I need it. It's now my dedication and discipline to it turned it into a something that has to happen, just like eating. Okay, for me, if you turn it into that, it's now a simple thing, and 3 weeks you'll feel better. Okay, you'll start feeling better in 1 week. Okay, but you're not going to see crazy changes. You'll feel it. In the beginning you'll really feel it, and trust me, even as I'm in a maintenance phase, I still feel it. Okay, I do feel by my 5th day of working out, I need that rest day. My body says, okay, you're done. And I go through pains, but I'd rather go through those pains rather than sit in the doctor's office dealing with that pain. Does that make sense? So, you want to start, okay? But make sure you turn it into a discipline where you can continue, because like I was saying, 1 week feels okay. 3 months, now you're going to start seeing things, okay? 6 months, really. 1 year, you're going to say, holy smokes, I got to get some new clothes. And how long is a year? In the grand scheme of things, 1 year. If you discipline to do, that change happens. That's how easy it is. Now, it also happens here in the kitchen. I always believed that I could outwork a bad diet, and it never happened, ever. Once I cleaned the diet, now cleaning up a diet doesn't mean being on a diet, all right? I look for healthy, single ingredient foods, non-processed, non-overprocessed foods. I eat a lot of eggs, and I try to strive for the best ones, pasture, organic, raised. And I eat a lot of them. I eat a lot of avocados. I learned this from some bodybuilder, extreme friends of mine that were very low body weight. They do competitions. They said if you want to get that step further, you need to change what you're eating. And that's when I started that. So my breakfast is always those eggs, avocado, salmon. And I learned to really love it, and I miss it when I don't have it. Lunch is like today was skinless turkey and another avocado. Okay, I have another protein for dinner, but all clean. I get grass-fed beef. I try to get organic vegetables and things. So that's how I diet. It's not necessarily. Now, will I eat some crazy processed stuff like a piece of cake or a lot? Yes, I do every now and again, but it gets to a point where it will not affect you. It's the 80-20 rule. 80% really good, 20% bad. Most of society is 80% really bad, 20% good. Flip the script there and work out, and you will see change. As long as you have the discipline to carry it through. And that's how it's done. So you got my story. You want to do it? Hit me up and I'll take you there too. Have a good one.